Hi, this is David White in Austin, Texas, and we're bringing you the sixth installment in a series of what we call A Perfect Life, the life of Jesus Christ. Our scripture today is out of Matthew, the 4th chapter. Go Matthew 5 through 7, and then Matthew 8 through 10, the last two temptations that Christ encountered in the desert. Now, it should certainly be pointed out that these temptations were in his mind. They didn't involve him moving around the world. The scripture, Matthew 5 through 7, says, "Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. 'If you are the Son of God,' he said, 'throw yourself down. For it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and they'll lift you up in their hands, so that you'll not strike your foot against a stone.' Jesus answered him, 'It's also written, don't put the Lord your God to the test.'" Now, here is the deal. The devil quoted Jesus the Bible. The devil's quote here comes right out of the 91st Psalm. And Jesus simplified it by just coming back and said, don't put the Lord your God to the test. He didn't fall into this trap. Now, this is the old thing of whatever we're selling or however we're living, is to try to use sensations. We've all seen the yo-yos selling prayer shawls and all that kind of stuff, and it's good to talk about them. But let's talk about us. How many of us overeat? Take our comfort in the sensation of food. Enough fried chicken is good for you, but too much is not good. Some alcohol is a great social lubricant, but too much can cause problems, as anybody who knew me 25 years ago can attest. What about sloth? Isn't that a sensation itself? Taking our ease and comfort. Too much. And too much depends on the individual. What about manipulation? What if we're given one of those bright minds that can read people and know how to manipulate people? Isn't that a sensation in itself? And then what about judging others? I used to listen to preachers occasionally hang a 300-pound belly over the pulpit and castigate people who drank whiskey and smoked cigarettes. And I used my self-righteousness to not hear the good advice they were giving me. And I don't mean not drinking any whiskey, but if I had listened to them, I'd be a whole lot better off today. But I've turned that around on their 300-pound belly. The truth is, they had their own problem. And if I hadn't been defensive, I could have heard the truth they were telling me and would have been far better off. And anybody who knows me knows that still in the clutches of tobacco and have not been able to let it go at this point. And certainly this is a violation of what this second temptation that Jesus faced was talking about. Then the third temptation says, again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. All this I'll give you, he said, if you will bow down and worship me. But Jesus said to him, away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. This is the old idea of advancing by retreating. Oh my. You may not be subject to this, but I certainly am. Essentially, we're all selling something, whether it's ourself, our knowledge, a product, or whatever. And how many of us are tempted on a daily basis to not tell the whole truth. Certainly, far more of us would refrain from telling an active lie than there are those of us who would be tempted to just not tell quite the whole truth. Or, how about not giving the employer a full day's work for a fair day's pay? Or for the employer to try to skimp on wages beyond what they have to for their employees. This whole thing of trying to advance by retreating is a problem that mankind has always had and certainly does today. And this is a trap that Jesus Christ didn't fall into. So, we have the three temptations that Christ faced in the desert, and essentially they encompass all the temptations that mankind faces. A lot of different names, but essentially they encompass all the temptations that we face. The first one having to do with using our talents just for ourselves. Certainly, the Lord gave us talent, and He expects us to use them to earn a living. But He doesn't give us those talents to cause us to just use those things for our benefit. In addition to that, He gives them to us to turn outward to our fellow man. Then there's this thing of depending on God. This is a tough one for certainly me, and I suspect for an awful lot of people. To get it in my head. In fact, talk that I'm the captain of my ship, the master of my fate. Well, that's not true for me. Any thought worth having that I'm given, or any action worth doing that I'm encouraged to do, comes from the heart. So the more I can depend on God, rather than my very finite little mind, the better off I am and the better off humanity is. And then there's just do right one day at a time. When I'm tempted to not tell the whole truth, tell the whole truth. When I'm tempted to manipulate somebody for my benefit, seek help and don't do that. And I can go on and on with that string of illustrations. But Jesus faced every temptation that we face, every one of them, and He overcame. And certainly far better than any of us can. So it serves us well, and certainly served me well, to keep my heart into these temptations, and see how well that with His help I can handle them on a day-to-day basis. I certainly appreciate your comments and look forward to hearing from you. So until next time, this is David White saying thank you for watching. Bye-bye.